Welcome back to Learning English with Aish podcast. I'm Natasha.
And I'm Zach. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today.
Today we have something really special for you. We're going to talk about how to learn English fast, but naturally. And this episode is what we call snack learning.
Snack learning? What does that mean?
It means you're getting powerful, research-backed information in about 20 to 25 minutes. Just enough time for your commute, your lunch break, or your morning coffee.
I love that. So listeners, you don't need hours and hours. Just give us the next 25 minutes and we promise you'll walk away with a completely new understanding of how language learning actually works.
And here's the immediate benefit. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why your current study method might be keeping you stuck, and you'll have a clear framework to change that starting today.
All right, let's get into it.
But before we dive in, I want to give you a specific instruction for how to get the most from this episode.
Okay, what should our listeners do?
As you listen today, I want you to actively think about your own English learning experience. When we mention a struggle or a challenge, ask yourself, have I experienced this?
So this isn't passive listening. We want you engaged.
Exactly. And here's the second instruction. At the end, we'll give you 3 specific actions you can take immediately. So if you're walking or driving, that's fine. But if you can, have a way to take 1 or 2 quick notes.
Don't worry, we'll make it super simple. No complicated notes required.
Perfect. Now let's get started with a question that might surprise you.
So, Natasha, here's something I've been wondering. Why do some people become fluent in English in just 18 months, while others study for 10, 15, even 20 years and still can't have a simple conversation?
That's the exact question we need to ask, Zach. And here's what most people believe. They think it's about talent or intelligence or how hard you work.
Wait, it's not about working hard?
Here's the strange truth. The people who study the hardest often fail the most. I know that sounds crazy, but stay with me.
So if hard work isn't the answer, what is?
It's about activating the right mechanism in your brain. You see, there's a hidden mechanism that determines whether you'll succeed or waste years of your life.
That sounds serious. What do you mean by mechanism?
Think of it like this. Your brain has 2 different ways of learning language. Most students accidentally use the wrong way, and that's why they can read English, understand grammar rules, maybe even pass tests. But the moment someone asks them a question, their mind goes blank.
Oh, I think many of our listeners know exactly what that feels like.
Absolutely. And the good news? Once you understand these 2 mechanisms, everything changes. You can finally escape that frustrating cycle.
Okay, I'm really curious now. What are these 2 mechanisms?
Let's talk about that right now. But first, I want to share a story that shows
you want
exactly
to learn how to
what
ride
I
a
mean.
bicycle. So you go to the library and you find a book about bicycles.
Okay, I'm at the library with my bicycle book.
Good. Now, you read this book very carefully. It explains balance. It explains how to pedal. It teaches you about steering, about handbrakes, about body position.
Sounds thorough.
After 1 month of reading, you can answer any question about bicycles. You understand the theory perfectly. Someone asks, how do you maintain balance? And you can explain the physics.
But I'm guessing there's a problem here.
Exactly. Now, you actually get on the bicycle for the first time. What happens?
You fall. Because reading about balance and actually balancing are completely different things.
Yes, that's the perfect answer, Zach. Reading the book gave you explicit knowledge. You know about bicycles consciously. You can think about the rules and explain them.
But to actually ride, you need something different.
You need implicit knowledge. That's the automatic, unconscious knowledge that comes from actually doing it. When you ride a bicycle well, you don't think, now I need to lean left, now I need to pedal faster. Your body just knows.
So you're saying learning English is like this?
Exactly like this. Most English students spend years reading the bicycle book. They study grammar rules, memorize vocabulary lists, complete exercises. This builds explicit knowledge.
But when they try to actually speak,
They fall off the bicycle because speaking in real time requires implicit knowledge. There's no time to think about rules in a conversation. You need automatic, unconscious knowledge.
okay, so this makes sense for English, but can you give us a real example?
Of course. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. She studied French for 10 full years in school. 10 years, Zach.
That's a long time.
She could analyze sentence structures. She knew the subjunctive mood. She could write grammatically perfect essays. She had so much explicit knowledge.
But then what happened?
She went to France for vacation, and someone asked her a simple question. Where are you from? Sarah's brain locked up. She knew the words, she knew the grammar, but she couldn't speak.
Because she only had explicit knowledge, not implicit knowledge.
Exactly right. She had spent 10 years reading the bicycle book, but she had never actually gotten on the bicycle.
So how do we avoid making the same mistake? How do we build implicit knowledge instead?
That's the perfect question. And that brings us to the most important concept in language learning.
Okay, Natasha, you've got me really interested. What's this important concept?
It's called comprehensible input. And I'm going to be honest with you, Zach. Once you understand this, your entire approach to learning English will change forever.
That's a big promise. What is comprehensible input?
Let me show you with a simple example first. Imagine you're watching a video and you don't know the words dog, grass, or car yet.
Okay, I don't know those words.
In the video, someone points to a dog sitting on the grass next to a car, and while pointing, they say, "Look at the dog on the grass next to the car."
Oh, I understand. Even without studying, I can figure out what those words mean because I can see them.
Exactly. You didn't study those words. You didn't look them up in a dictionary. You didn't write them 50 times. But your brain made the connections automatically.
So the visual context helped me understand.
Yes, and this is how your brain is actually designed to learn language, through understanding messages in context.
But, Natasha, can you explain the science behind this? Why does this work?
Great question. Here's the principle, and it's beautifully simple. We acquire language in only one way, when we understand it.
When we understand it. Can you say more about that?
Your brain has this amazing mechanism. When you're focused on understanding a message, not studying grammar rules, your brain automatically picks up the patterns of the language.
So I don't need to consciously study grammar?
Not in the traditional way. Think about how children learn their first language. Do babies study grammar books?
Of course not.
But they become fluent, right? Because they're surrounded by comprehensible input all day long. They hear language in context, and their brains naturally extract the patterns.
But wait, I'm an adult, not a child. Does this still work for me?
Yes, your brain still has this mechanism. You've just never been taught to activate it properly.
Okay, so give me another metaphor to help me understand this better.
All right, here's a second metaphor. Think about learning to swim. You can read a book about swimming techniques, but that won't teach your body how to move in the water.
Right, you have to actually get in the water.
Exactly. And at first, maybe you practice in shallow water where you feel safe. You can touch the bottom. This is like comprehensible input at your level.
So the water isn't too deep, but it's still real practice.
Yes. And as you practice, your body naturally learns the movements. You don't think, now move left arm, now kick with right leg. It becomes automatic.
So with English, if I watch videos or listen to podcasts at my level, my brain will naturally learn?
Yes, but there's an important key. The content must be comprehensible. That means you understand maybe 70 to 80%, and you can figure out the rest through context.
What if it's too difficult?
If it's too difficult, you learn nothing. If it's too easy, you also learn nothing. The sweet spot is when you understand most of it, but there are some new things to learn.
I think this is where many learners make mistakes. They try to watch native content that's way too difficult for them.
Absolutely. It's like trying to swim in the ocean during a storm when you're just learning. You need to start where you can actually succeed.
This is so helpful. But, Natasha, I know what our listeners are thinking right now.
What's that?
They're thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually stay motivated? How do I make this work over months and years?
You're absolutely right, Zach. And that's exactly what we
Let's get
need to talk
practical.
about next.
I'm going to give you 3 specific secrets that successful English learners use. These are things you can start doing today.
I love this. What's the first secret?
Secret number 1. Never separate input from output. This is huge.
What does that mean exactly?
Most students think like this. First, I study for many months. I learn lots of vocabulary. I learn grammar. Then, when I know enough, I'll start practicing speaking.
And that's wrong?
That's completely wrong. Practice is not something you do after you study. Practice must happen at the same time as study.
Can you give us a concrete example?
Of course. Let's say you learn a new word today. The word is exhausted. What should you do?
Write it down?
That's okay, but not enough. You must immediately use it. Say it out loud. I feel exhausted. Then make new sentences. Yesterday, I was exhausted. My friend looks exhausted.
So I practice speaking right away, not later?
Exactly. You're moving the word from explicit knowledge to implicit knowledge immediately. This is how you build real speaking ability.
That makes so much sense. What's the second secret?
Secret number 2. Use the power of imitation, especially if you're intermediate or advanced.
Imitation? Like copying?
Not exactly copying, but retelling. Here's how it works. You listen to a short story or conversation in English, maybe 2 or 3 minutes long.
Okay, I'm listening to a story.
Then you retell that story in your own words. You're not memorizing it word for word. You're using your own language, but expressing the same ideas.
So I'm practicing creative production, not just repeating.
Yes, this is so powerful because you're taking input and immediately transforming it into output. You're practicing sentence structure, vocabulary, and expressing complex ideas.
And listeners, you can do this with almost any content. A podcast episode, a YouTube video, even this episode.
Exactly right, Zach. Now, what do you think the third secret is?
Let me guess. Something about consistency?
You're close. Secret number 3. Make English a non-negotiable priority, not just when you feel motivated.
This is about discipline, isn't it?
It's about being honest with yourself. Many people say, I don't have time to practice English. But the truth is, you're choosing not to make time.
That's a hard truth.
But it's also empowering, because if it's a choice, you can make a different choice. You can decide English is a priority for me.
What does that look like, practically?
It means you schedule English time, just like you schedule work or meals. Maybe every morning, 15 minutes while you drink coffee,
or every evening, 20 minutes before bed.
So it becomes a habit, not something you do when you feel like it.
Exactly. And here's the beautiful thing. When you make it non-negotiable, you stop wasting energy debating whether to practice today. You just do it.
These 3 secrets are so practical, but Natasha, I think some listeners might be feeling discouraged right now.
Why do you think that?
Because maybe they've tried to learn English before and failed. Maybe they're thinking, I've heard this kind of advice before, but it never works for me.
That's such an important point, Zach. And I want to share a story that might help. Let me tell you about a student named Maria. She studied English for 15 years in school. 15 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
But she couldn't speak. She would freeze up in conversations. She felt so embarrassed that she avoided speaking English completely.
That must have been really frustrating for her.
It was. She actually told me she was ready to give up. She thought maybe she just wasn't talented enough to learn English.
So what changed for her?
She learned about comprehensible input and implicit knowledge. And she made one crucial decision. She would stop traditional studying and start practicing differently.
What did she do?
Every day, for just 30 minutes, she watched English videos at her level. Videos where she could understand most of the content through context and visuals.
So she was getting comprehensible input.
Yes, and after each video, she would practice speaking. She would retell what she watched in her own words.
So she was immediately using what she learned, not separating input from output.
Exactly. And Zach, within 6 months, Maria could have basic conversations confidently. Within 1 year, she was speaking fluently about topics she cared about.
After 15 years of failure, just 1 year of the right method changed everything.
Yes, because she finally activated the right mechanism in her brain. She built implicit knowledge instead of just explicit knowledge.
So if Maria could do it, our listeners can do it too.
Absolutely. The method works when you actually apply it consistently, and that's what we want for every person listening right now.
I love this story. It gives me hope, and I'm sure it gives our listeners hope too.
That's exactly why I shared it, Zach, because I want everyone to know your past failures don't determine your future success.
All right, so we've covered so much today. Should we wrap this up?
Yes, let's bring it all together.
Okay, everyone, let's do a quick recap of what we learned today.
We discovered that there are 2 types of knowledge, explicit and implicit. Explicit knowledge is what you learn from textbooks and grammar rules. Implicit knowledge is the automatic, unconscious ability to speak.
And we learned that implicit knowledge comes from comprehensible input, which means understanding English in context, not just studying rules.
We also talked about the 3 practical secrets. Never separate input from output. Use the power of imitation and make English a non-negotiable priority.
And we heard Maria's story, which shows that the right method really does work, even if you failed before.
So here's my final question for you, our listeners. Are you ready to stop studying the bicycle book and actually get on the bicycle?
That's such a great way to put it. And here's your challenge. Today, right after this episode, find one piece of comprehensible input, maybe a simple English video, a story, or even another podcast episode.
Watch or listen to it. Then practice speaking. Retell what you learned in your own words. Do this for just 10 minutes.
And then come back and tell us. Leave a comment about your experience. What did you watch? How did it feel to practice speaking right away?
We read every comment, and we love hearing your stories. Your success inspires other learners.
And if this episode helped you understand English in a new way, please share it with one friend who's also learning English.
Yes, the best gift you can give another learner is the right method. Share this episode so they can discover it too.
And of course, if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to our podcast. We release new episodes every day with more practical English learning advice.
Remember, you're not stuck. You're not untalented. You just need to activate the right mechanism in your brain. And now you know how to do that.
Thanks so much for spending these 20 minutes with us today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Keep practicing, keep improving, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Bye, everyone.
Bye.